Start with roll call attendance. Joseph Bryant. Here. Josh Muchart. Brittany Wold.
Here.
Sarah Feeney.
Here.
Jessica Evenson.
Here.
John Dehan. Nick Shuey. Renee Skiles. Patrick Stanton is not here. Sharon Jonathan. And we're missing Gary Abb, Stark Schreiber, and Renee. We can jump into the agenda approval. Nick, is there a second? Brittany seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Agenda approved. We can now jump into the approval of minutes for the April 22nd meeting. Nick?
I move to approve the minutes.
Jessica?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the April 22nd meeting.
Is there a second? Brittany? Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Nick and John Dehan abstain. Sorry. Meetings approved. You go into reports. I have nothing to report. Yeah.
So, our current supplemental fund balance is $30,621. And as you guys can see, we have roughly $8,000 in pending requests currently.
Any questions of where we are with the budget? We have about a month. After that. The May 20th, we won't have an official meeting. That's when we're doing the dinner. But there will be 2 more after that. The last one, obviously, there won't be any funding requests, but we would vote on what came up before that. So I think there may be 4 or 5 more. But there could be.
We have in the past voted on.
Well, yeah. This would be, there would be new ones, I can tell you.
I'm sorry, Nick.
So for the approved amounts,
Yeah.
are all of those liquidated? I mean, sometimes the events come out to be less than expected or less than they anticipated, so does it come back to us?
There's several right now in the reconciliation process that could have some small amount of coming back.
Are there any other questions about the current budget standing? All right, if we move on to communications received.
No.
Oh. Public comment, first call.
I just want to say thanks to letting me present last week. Whoever was in, thank you.
Thanks for being here, Ken.
Any other public comment at this time? All right, seeing none, we can jump to old business supplemental funding request voting on supplemental funding request 1523, the Harbor trip to Israel for the amount of $1,838.96. The table is open for discussion.
And I actually have a question if Ben can answer it if we're willing to. Just for clarification, Ben, I know you said with the opportunity to do this, it was that you were notified by someone who had to drop out. of that. What, did you have to apply or audition, or that was there was a question of clarification on what you had to submit?
It's very much word of mouth. The guy who dropped out was a professional, and my dad's a professional trumpet player.
Mhm.
And so he asked if anyone that my dad would suggest could go with him, and my dad said that. So it was very much reference.
Okay, thank you.
Nick, question for you. Yeah. So it says up there that there's $300 from the music department that was rescinded, correct?
Yes.
So what's the explanation behind rescinding the $300 offer?
I believe it was that the dean had given us a certain amount of money for supplemental funding, and then that it was pulled later than expected, and so that money was no longer available.
Have you attempted to go to the music department's supplemental base funding account that we allocated in the 2014 to 2017 base cycle?
I talked to different representatives in the music department, and I never heard of that being an option I should look further into, but I have checked with different clubs and organizations that I'm a part of in the music department.
Sure. So someone sitting here with us today, you can check with him at the end of the meeting.
I can respond to that. We're actually, the $300 is what we had committed, but we're actually overcommitted on our S&A funds for this year because we've had a lot of big trips this year, as you may have read. And so that's why we had to rescind that, because we have group travel that we've got to pay for. This most recent one was the jazz band. We had this late invitation to Monterey. We had to do rooms and things like that. And so we're actually, as far as unencumbered funds, overcommitted for this year. So.
Next, I guess, comment question. Do you use the music department generally fund individuals to go on trips like this, or not? Have you in the past?
It depends. For this one, probably not. Just to be honest.
Is there any further discussion?
Could you just explain a little bit more in depth? I know we asked you last time about how going on this trip is going to benefit other Central students in the university itself.
So there's always that I can share my experiences with others. Almost any performance major that I know is interested in this kind of opportunity of travel and playing. It's basically like what we ideally would want to do for a life job, like if we could. So I can bring back those experiences and tell people what it's like in this week or 10 days, what it's like to live that lifestyle. And then also is, if I play well and perform well, then it opens the doors. This group tours every year. And so, and if my dad's going, and so they can ask him for recommendations for other students in future years.
Didn't you also say it was going to be filmed for a documentary?
Correct,
So
yeah.
you could show that documentary to other students or something.
Is there any discussion or motion on the table?
I'll just clarify just a little further though. Usually individual trips like that we don't fund because most of our travel is group in the music department. This is similar to a request we had last year, like there was an individual that had an opportunity to go to a workshop in Broadway to be a pit percussionist. And he came to the group as an individual to ask for support for that. And then he came back and played in the musical in the pit for Les Mis. We all benefited from it. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's not that I don't see merit in this trip. It's just that typically individuals, typically our SA funds we try to use for group travel, and we are committed this year.
Same question for Sharon. So I see on here we have 1524 and 1525 that are coming up later today. Do we know how many more requests we have for the next couple of weeks?
I don't. I typically have it's first come, first served. And I have no further requests currently except for what you see there.
So it could
as
be one, it could be a dozen.
could, correct.
Okay.
And so what you see there, it sometimes does tailor off at the end of the year, and sometimes we get a chunk of them for summer travel. I don't usually get an indication until Friday afternoon. There's usually not a lot of upfront planning on.
Nick?
Move to table supplemental funding request 1523 until the night service activities committee.
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second? Jessica? Any discussion?
Just reasonable.
I think we could get some more information as to how much funds are going to be exiting these base funding account that we have, hopefully for next week, so we can have a better estimation as to our budget.
June 3rd, June 15th, June 3rd. Yep.
Is this decision holding you up from buying your plane tickets?
We've already bought it.
Okay, good.
Is there any further discussion? All those, all those in favor of tabling this till next week's meeting? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Dr. Shiver abstains. Motion passed. We move to new business supplemental funding request. We'll start off with supplemental funding request 1524 for the ACSM National Conference presented by the Exercise Science Club for the amount of $3,628. You know, 10 minutes to present and then 10 minutes for questions.
Alright. You guys ready?
Okay, good evening. I'm Liz Hilbert from the Exercise Science Club. We are requesting funds to go to the National ACSM Conference. ACSM stands for American College of Sports Medicine. The conference is the last week of May, and we just got our funds approved from SAS last night for $1,500, and Club Senate tonight will be voting on our 1022. So we're asking funds for airfare, hotel, and registration. Our students are paying $10 out of pocket for their membership fee to the ACSM, and then transportation to and from Seattle and Ellensburg, and to and from the hotel and airport in San Diego. Right now, airfare is about $325 a person to San Diego. We're hoping it's going to drop. So we're asking for about $3,250 for 10 people. Hotel for 2 rooms, arranging all 10 people into 2 rooms for $2,200. Yeah. And then registration fees are $120 for the 4 days for all 10 students, so $1,200.
So this conference is actually a really great opportunity for all of us to go to. There's several benefits that not only us going benefits to Central students as well. There's a large portion of us going that graduate students. We TA for classes, we help teach classes, we assist with undergraduate students. The things that we learn at these conferences, the lectures we get to go to, the events we get to attend, we bring all this information back and we get to give it to the undergraduate students. We get to bring on new projects for them. We get to change up and switch curriculums. We get to throw new activities at them. Things that we get from these conferences, we can bring back to all those courses that we work in. And we work in all of them. We work from the lowest of the exercise science courses all the way up through the upper division or the 400 level courses as well. So this impacts all the students, not just the ones who are coming in new, but the ones who are on their way out. For us personally, again, several of us going, we get a chance to interact with PhD students, master's students, will interact with faculty from some of the best minds in our field across the country. And this is a rare opportunity because the national conference is on this coast this year. It's a chance for us to go to this national conference without having to go across the country to go to it. So not only will it impact the students here on campus, but on a personal impact for all of us as well. Many of us are looking at PhD programs, and this gives us a chance to speak with faculty from across the country to look into some of those programs and to bring back that information as well, so that future graduate students coming in as well will have that information on those programs too.
It's a great opportunity to find out if you're interested in researching. There's no better way than actually talking with people and actually physically making those contacts.
Yes, please help fund this. Yeah.
Two questions. How did you guys get to the 10 of you that are going? How were those chosen? And then how did you get to the using 500 from your club amount?
Okay, so Stephanie Campbell is one advisor, and she sent out an email to all of our undergrad and graduate students in the Exercise Science Club, and it was whoever wanted to go, whoever could get off of class. That's who. And then, how do we come up with the $500?
Yeah.
That's just kind of an amount that we decided was like doable for our club to do. In the past, we've done like 300, but since we are taking so many people and this is to like San Diego, we wanted to do a substantial amount so that more money people would be more likely to come. And we're also putting on a 5K fun run May 16th too, as well. Raise money.
So everyone within the department had a fair chance of going. We sent out the email, and then it was the response that we got back. We got a response from these 10 people, so we didn't have to find a way to narrow it down because we thought 10 people was a reasonable number to try to send. But 2 emails went out, so everyone knew what was going on and had the opportunity to respond if they wanted to go to it.
Will any of the students in your be presenting research or lecturing on any subject?
Not this year. Hopefully next year.
So how big is this conference exactly? Is it
There's
big
like
or-
70 people from all around the world coming, so it's huge.
70 lecturers?
Yeah, 70 lectures. there's like
No, it's 1/7.
yeah.
The conference is big enough to take up San Diego's entire convention center and get thousands of people there. There'll be an expo for all the new products and stuff for the new research tool and everything. For everyone to see there as well. It's a big conference.
Pretty much doesn't get much bigger for the sports medicine field.
And it's relatively close. Last year was Florida, and the year before that was Indiana. So those are both close.
So since you're in the 26th to the 30th, are all of those days going to be at the conference, or are there any days that you're not going to be at the conference? Or
We're all going to be at the conference.
You're at the conference.
We're literally going to fly in and drive straight to the conference.
The keynote's at noon on Tuesday.
Gotcha. And then you said you guys TA. How many of the 10 of you TA or are undergrad? Okay, so a lot of you. That's good. So.
I think it's half undergrad graduates. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So the 5K fundraiser, is that specifically just for this trip, or is that a general club?
It's a general club thing. We do it to raise money for next year's group of students who want to go to the ACSM. So last year they raised money for us to go. So we're going to do it in return.
How many students are in your club currently?
Ooh, Stephanie, do you know that?
Enrolled members is probably 30 as far as doing the registration, being a member. When we do club events, that email goes out to the entire department as far as anybody that is exercise science or clinical physiology major. So it goes out to hundreds of students, but actually registered as a member, we probably have about 30. To go, you do have to have paid the dues and are a registered member.
So then a follow-up question to that is where do you raise money from your club account? And for the, I mean, took 500 out, that's great, but was that specifically designated for this trip in the past?
So that 500 came from registration or club dues for this year. The 5K fun run from last year. We did T-shirts this year for our members, and then I think that that's pretty much it.
What do you guys expect to pay out of pocket? I know you mentioned here something about the students covering transportation to and from the airport and while in San Diego. Is there any other expenses? Food, probably.
Food, yeah.
Anything else you guys are taking on?
We're paying our $10 ACSM memberships. So, yeah.
The extra fee for putting 5 people in the room, I mean, that would be a little bit extra. We're getting like a rollaway or something. Trying to like cut down on the hotel cost by putting 5 people in each room.
It's like transportation.
Yeah.
That's nice.
To and from Seattle. It looks like right now our flights are super early in the morning, so we might have to do a hotel overnight in Seattle.
Are there any further questions? All right, thank you. We'll run this
Thank you.
again. Thank you. Okay, we now jump into supplemental funding request 1525, Pulse 5-year issue and launch party for the amount of $2,302.60.
Okay, I'm Lindsay Wisniewski, the editor-in-chief of Pulse magazine, and I'm joined with my editors, my head designer, graphic designer, and also one of our members of the PR event planning team. So first of all, I just want to thank you guys for seeing us again. I think we saw you guys a couple weeks ago for one of our conferences we attended. So we're happy to be back, and I just wanted to say that it means a lot to us that you guys were able to help us with a couple of the conferences we went to this year. But for us, this is a much more important thing that we are asking for today because it is something that directly affects the students. So yeah, we're celebrating 5 years, but the bigger thing that we're hoping to do today is to get funds for requesting to print an actual magazine, which we've never done before. So, so we've set up, we can go ahead and move to the next slide and I'll get into more details about the event. So we went to the Associated Collegiate Press Conference earlier this year with the Observer. During our time there, Pulse placed 4th nationally in the feature magazine category, and during our time there, we had the opportunity to get critique from a professional. During our critique, we were told that the magazine was really great aesthetically, it had nice content, but she was really concerned about the presence that we had in the central community, more concerned about the fact that we were lacking advertisements from a lot of local businesses. Really concerned about the lack of presence around the community, and she recommended that we put in a request to put out an issue in print. So I took this back to our advisor, Jennifer Green, and talked to her a little bit about some ideas. And one of the ideas we came up with was the fact that we were actually right around the date of our 5 years that Pulse has been around. So we came up with this whole idea of doing a 5-year Pulse celebration where we would print our issue and give it to the students and get kind of a fun celebratory event. So I put on the bottom here, many students not know what Pulse magazine is on campus, and it's the truth. Everyone here, I mean, you guys probably know Pulse because we've been here, but a lot of people on campus know the Observer. And why do you think they know the Observer? Because it's in print, you know, and so that's been one of our struggles is we are an only online publication. So we're looking to kind of reach a little bit closer of an audience here in the community. The basics, we're Central Washington University's student-run magazine, Pulse. The when We're doing a two-part event that will take place first at the Source event on May 21st, followed by our 5-year issue launch. That will be on June 4th. It's going to be held in the CERC, both of those events. Pulse is celebrating 5 years of the magazine, and what better way to celebrate than with the students at Central Washington University. How you guys can help us, obviously by providing funding for printing costs. We hope to give students at the launch party an actual print issue, which will be the first time we've ever done this. Plans for the Source event. So Brianne, she could probably speak a little bit about this, but I'll just kind of go into some rough details. We're still in the planning process, but the Source event will be the first part of our two-part event. That is where we are planning on doing an art gallery theme. So we plan on doing 6 poster-sized covers of Pulse on actual easels, and also printing a big cover of our newest issue. And at that event, we're going to be renting iPads and stuff to kind of go around and show students what our magazine looks like, so they can get an actual feel. We're also going to be doing a raffle that one of our advertising guys set up through Chi-Chi's Cupcakes for a 10-pound cupcake. Who doesn't want that? But they'll be able to enter for the raffle at the party, or at the Source event on the 21st, and then at the actual party on June 4th, we'll choose the winner. So students will have coordinated, so the people from the PR event planning team, which is actually a class at Central, they're putting together this party for us. And we'll be able to present and help get the word out about Pulse. Anything you want to add to that?
No, this event specifically, because there's 2 events, so this one's on May 21st, and so it's kind of used to promote the kickoff of their magazine on June 4th, but also to kind of increase awareness of what Pulse is. So it's a very interactive event, and that's why we chose to have the tablets, so students can see how to get access to it and read the awesome content that Pulse has.
Okay, and then that leads to our actual launch party on June 4th. So we are doing a launch party outside of the CERC where we will have music from 88.1 The Berg. We're going to have, hopefully, we're still in the process of getting this all together, but food and drinks from Weininger's and Monsters Energy, raffle from Chi-Chi's like we talked about. These are all, local places in the community. With the help in S&A, we're hoping to release a print issue of our magazine to give students a physical copy to hold in their hands and share with other students. Then I just kind of broken in a little bit of facts. According to Forbes, placing ads in publications such as specialty magazines can effectively reach a niche audience that may be more difficult to target online. So obviously we've reached out to a lot of people in the community who have been really open to putting some ads in our actual print issue, and we've kind of been working on creating a package type deal where, if they put one in our print issue, they get half off on our online issue. So it's kind of bringing more people to our online as well. More engaging, consumers are more engaged when reading printed material, unlike websites, which are often scanned in as little as 15-second visit. The study shows that people read digital text 20 to 30% slower than printed paper. So when our magazine is online, so we get impressions, as they call them. So that basically means that if someone clicks on our magazine for more than 2 seconds, it counts as a view. So we don't really have an idea of the actual read time that people are committing to our magazine, so that's something we're still working on trying to figure out, what is really attractive to our audience. So next one, so this is just kind of what to look forward to in our 5-year issue, what we're planning on doing as far as printing. So right now our 5-year issue is in the designing process, but I can tell you that our magazine showcases a variety of subjects. We're working on a feature on Krista Weddle. She's Miss East Cascades, and we're working on Clock and Craft Brewery owner Bill Reichland, feature Sasquatch artist in CWU's First Amendment Festival. Bill Reichland and Krista Weddle are both Central Washington University students. They both, especially Krista, I'm working on her piece now. She's someone that's overcome a lot of adversity from, being involved in domestic abuse relationships, eating disorders. So really, we try to find stories that are not only going to be appealing to students, but stories that, can teach, that students can learn from. So our issue will also feature interviews from past editors. So that's something that I've been in the process of doing. Instead of doing an actual editor's page, we're going to do a 5-year editor's page where we get all of our editors from the past 5 years, where they come and they talk, or they write a little blurb about, where Pulse has been, how it's evolved, and where they're at now. So, so the breakdown of costs. So what I was hoping to bring with you guys today was an actual printed issue of what we're looking to do. So we're in the process of we sent out a PDF form of one of our old issues for them to print 2 different kinds for us to see how they'll look visually. But this is a magazine from actually Syracuse University, and this is what we're looking to do with our magazine. So as I said, we're looking at a variety of printing options. So, but we found that the best deal was actually with the same company who does Hype magazine, or Hype, I guess, I don't know if you'd call that a magazine. Are they a magazine? It's like, I mean, you'll notice that there is paper. We're looking to do something glossy, like an actual magazine. There are 2 types of printing styles, and we have quotes for both because we need a copy of the documents to see which one we will print on. There are 4 options that we provided here. 2 quotes on offset press option of 40 pages and 72 pages, and 2 quotes on color copier option at 40 pages and 72 pages. So this is how we got our minimum and maximums on our request that we're asking for today. We would ideally like to print 250 72-page magazines. Our issues usually range around the 70-page, so if we did a 40-page, we would definitely have to cut it down quite a bit, which we feel like could maybe take out some of the content of our bigger and better stories. But our issues typically average, like I said, around 70 pages. So now we're going to get into kind of the breakdown of the cost. So this is option 1, and this is what she calls a color copier option. And this is for 100 magazines. We're looking at a cost of $937.30. That is the cheapest as far as that goes. It's 20 sheets printed both sides, 40 pages. And then the next option would be 250 copies, and that's going to be the same option, that color copier option. That's $1,607.84. And then we go on to our third option, which is an offset press option. So I guess the real differences here are how the magazine actually lays out once we print it. So this is going to be another 40-page magazine here, but a different type of printing option, and that one's going to be, 40 pages, 100 copies. Or I'm sorry, this one's actually 250 copies. This is $1345.31.
I don't mean to jump
Yeah.
in. We're at the 10-minute mark, so I entertain a motion to extend this for another 10 minutes.
I just have one more slide.
Nick, is there a second? Josh? Any opposed? I mean, any discussion? All those 4? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Give another 10.
All right, so, and this is the other option, the offset press option, and this is 250 copies, and 2242 is what we're looking at. And I believe we requested that, plus we asked for with something simple like $60 for covers of tables or something like that. So this is really where the big expenditure is here. And so fortunately, we will not know if it's going to be closer to the 2242 or closer to the 936 until we print it and we can actually find out. So we're asking for the full amount, but there's a good chance it could be less than that. So that's what we're asking for today. Any questions? Yep.
How much do you charge for your ads?
So I think a full page, I think he said, is 120.
Are you going to charge more for the print?
I guess he is looking, he said he's looking at, because that's going to be a package bundle. I don't know what the exact costs are on that, but he says that we are going to be charging more for the 5-year issue for the printing.
How much do you usually make off of your ads?
Not a lot. Not a lot at all. And so that's something we're trying to prove.
So one more question. Is this something that is this a direction that you think Pulse is going to be print from their own instead of online, or?
You want to speak to that? You're shaking your head.
Well, of course I am, because I'm the head designer, so I love everything print, but I think having Pulse as a printed magazine would reach out to a big chunk of Central's community, because you're walking in the halls, you see the Observer, you grab it, you look at it. You're not going to really go on a computer, go through our website, and then check out Pulse, as it's not as easy to access. So printing is definitely the route that I've been trying to root for, so this would be a really great step. in
And this
making
is
that
actually
possible.
my last issue with Pulse, and this is something we've talked about since I've been here. This has like been, I mean, in a way, it's a dream for us to get it on page, because we've always, we write this magazine for the students, but we don't feel like it's getting to the students. And so this is a dream for us to finally get the opportunity to reach out to the students. And I don't know if I put it on one of these slides, but we're hoping by getting more advertisements that this will eventually be paid for to where we can just put out print magazines because we have enough advertisements coming in. You'll notice that this Syracuse magazine I put around actually says it's paid for with a student fee. We don't have a student fee for printing our magazine here at Central. So I don't know if that's something that could eventually be implemented. I don't know if that's a whole nother conversation, but we're just looking to try to do it today for this 5-year issue, and then we'll see kind of where that goes in the
I
future.
just asked that because it just seems like everybody else is doing the opposite of that.
Right, right,
You know,
yeah.
You guys are, newspapers and magazines are going online, and then you guys are wanting to do the opposite. So.
There's a, at the ACP conference, there was a lot of magazines that do online and print, and that was one thing, like at the ACP conference, we were looking at all these magazines, and ours wasn't one of them because we couldn't showcase it. People couldn't see it. And so, but yes, I understand with journalism going online. So we're looking to do both, actually.
I think the huge difference too is that they had a fan base based off of their print magazines first and then went
Right.
online. They had the
Right.
following before they went online. We don't have that print following
Yeah,
yet,
that's true.
so we're trying to establish that.
Yeah, so you say you're trying to reach more students, but I get the money thing's fantastic, but so you're only printing 250 copies, but we have so many students on campus. How do you think that will affect people actually reading your magazine if there's only actually 250 copies?
Well, one of the ideas that we had that Brianna and I talked about is kind of going around and doing VIP bags for a lot of the heads of the departments here on campus to kind of spread words and maybe drop some off at classes and stuff like that, but also pass them out at our event. So to try to get them around to more people who can actually see them. Does that help answer the question? 250 copies, I know it's low, but if I would have come in here with a 10,000
No,
copies,
which is what I which is what I understand.
yeah,
I mean,
you guys would have been like, oh my
small.
gosh. You know, I mean, we love to print 1,000. That would be the dream. You know, Observer prints so many of their newspapers. That would be the dream, but we felt like this was kind of a reasonable thing to ask for, as opposed to asking for 1,000. It baby steps. So, but yeah, but like we talked about a VIP bag, we want to do that for like all of you guys and everyone around, all the heads around campus. We just thought it'd be fun to just kind of get the word out to everyone. Anyone else? And someone else?
Just out of curiosity, like, how much bigger is, it says 6 by 9 inches, is that correct?
It's going to be right around the same.
The same size?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit bigger. I don't know for sure because I don't have it printed out here in front of me.
That's okay.
But yeah, it's right. This was kind of our model for what we wanted.
So does their price go down as your volume goes up?
I know that our PR
Looking
girl was
at
saying that we could possibly get a discount for the more that we ask for. So possibly, but
It's almost $10 a copy.
yeah, so possibly. If she was here today, I think she would really answer that.
Are there any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll go to the 6 week. Thank you all. All right, now we can move into public comment. Second call. Seeing none. I'd like to remind everybody that our next meeting will be next week, May 6th, here at 5:30. And I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment. Jessica. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting adjourned at 6:30.